Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
That's your money saying it's time for a McDonald's run. Because with new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect. Like buy a 6-piece McNuggets and add a McChicken for just $1. Your money says let's go. Get more than you expect with new McValue. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Drink it in, man. Drink it in, man.
Detroit Koolaid. Detroit Koolaid drinkers. My voice cracked a little bit there, but I'm bringing the energy because the NFL draft just ended. Probably my most favorite event of all time. Every year. It was a crazy week. I got to Thursday, made it through, got to Friday. Me and Chops did about 8 hours of audio. I wasn't very happy. They didn't pick who I wanted. I done some research. I've heard some press conferences. I calmed down a little bit. And in case you didn't know, I love my lines when it's all said and done. So today, I got questions. I have takes. I have opinions. I got positivity. I got Detroit Koolaid and cornbread.
Drink it in, man.
Cornbread! Cornbread!
And I got the one and only at Chops in the D. He says he's ready. He says he's going to bring it. Chops, what's up, buddy?
Oh, Okri, after a gauntlet, 3 days of the NFL draft, I think live on the mic for a grand total of like 12 hours. I'm here. I'm ready to go. I know you stuck it out. You put out the Kool-Aid packet for Monday morning. Talking all things draft again. I'm ready to go, man. Like, let's get into this. Let's dive into it. We've had a couple days to break it down. We've had a chance to watch some, tape highlights and get some takes from the talking heads around the NFL and the Detroit sports media. So let's get into it.
All right, well, let's do that. We don't have time to mess around. So, Chops, like, I can answer if you'd like, but I want to know, in general, how you feeling now? Because we had rants, we had takes, we were disappointed. How you feeling now about the 2025 NFL draft for those Lions?
Yeah, feeling pretty good, Okri. Like, I know, again, we talked about this multiple times now, but I think the gut reaction to any draft really is like everybody makes their pool of guys, and if Brad doesn't take somebody who's in your pool, you're like shocked, stunned, disappointed, or whatever. But like we also said, the draft is 3 days, not 3 picks. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at building in the trenches. Doubling down on offensive line, which we talked about, addressing edge and wide receivers, double down on wide receivers. So throw a good safety in the mix too. Obviously, Brad Holmes had some Georgia cooking going on, but I like this draft total in totality now.
Yeah, I think we said when we were talking, we're kind of let's let it play out. And the biggest one for me that's somewhat flipped, or at least I'm much different than I was in the moment, is Tyleik Williams. I feel like, everybody and their brother is kind of okay with Tate Ratledge, if not excited. I feel like Isaac Tesla is the wild card. I just don't know about the player. I don't know about the compensation. Brad Holmes knows better than all of us. We get that. He doesn't have to tell us about it for 10 minutes. Miles Frazier to me is very safe. Like, oh, I like that value. And it's like, you double dipping on guards. You already got a bunch of right guards. I mean, that'll play itself out. The D end, I've pretty much come along with, even though I knew nothing really about this guy. He wasn't on my radar. It's like you just see all the hustle, the grit, the focus, what I see today, Jeff Risdon said he's a martial artist. He was like some kind of everything in the Congo or somewhere before he came from Egypt. Like a bunch of crazy stuff going on with the defensive end. But he seems to have all the hustle, measurables, and college production that you look for. Can he do it at the next level? Dan Jackson, same thing. Like, a lot of people buzzing about him. Like, what a great steal in the 7th. He's so safe. He's such a good special teamer. He's going to do everything great, except he's going to miss a bunch of tackles. And then the wide receiver's a bit of a wild card, too. So I just think going back to my Tyleik Williams, I'm curious where you're at. I guess I've come around because he seems like a really good kid. As I said on our recordings, a big body that can move is always a plus. He's a very good teammate. I could see him and Aleem pairing up nicely. How much pass rush will they get is still a little bit of my question, but 2 big guys that can move, get upfield, and stop the run is much more appetizing to me than it was when I wanted all the guys I wanted, both at edge and corner and other positions on day one. So that's my summary of where I'm at now. Happy across the board. Still some TBDs if you ask me, but we'll see. I hope they play well. And, another exciting, interesting draft class from Brad. What's that nickname again, Chops?
Oh, which one? We got always open for business. I mean, you got the 3 big, bad Brad. Or you can always go Holmes cooking.
Let me go back to that sentence nickname that you gave him that I've at least went with here on the show. Always over business. Like, where are you at after the fact with the fact that Brad Holmes doesn't care what you think, doesn't care what the NFL thinks, doesn't care about the media, doesn't want to hear about your value, doesn't care about his needs, doesn't care about trade values? He's going to get, quote-unquote, his guys. Okay, he's open for business, but last time I checked, he gave away two future thirds, future fourths. I don't even know what else was in all these trades. I didn't even pull them up because I was too afraid to see what we actually gave up to go get these Hall of Famer, had to have them type players. But, I mean, you could be open for business, but I think that Tesla deal is really going to be a determining factor. It's going to have to be really good to justify that trade, as well as just where he's going to fit up on the depth chart.
Yeah, that's after reviewing the whole class and seeing all the pieces that we got. My only criticism / concern is the assets that we use to get them. Like moving back 100 spots, going from what do you go from 130 to 230 so that you could move up 3 spots to get Tate Rat? Like, I like the, I don't hate the player. I know we kind of hemmed and hawed about him at first. He's grown on me a little bit, but it just seems like a huge sacrifice. I mean, again, a fourth round pick 130 is no joke. Like, you can still be finding good players there, and now you're swapping that to 230 where you're basically throwing a dart. People seem to like the dart he threw with Dan Jackson, but to move up 3 spots. I don't think that Tate Ratledge was going to be gone in 3 spots. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe Brad Holmes knew better, but it just seems like a big jump. So I keep wondering in my head, is he going to trade back? Is he going to trade back? Brad Holmes is never going to trade back. He's going to identify his guy. He's going to use whatever he's got to do to get up to that spot and just take him and then sit back. And he's proven it time and time again. I don't think he's going to change now. I think it's foolish to think that mentality will change. Even though he said he might change his mentality this year, he didn't do it. He got aggressive, and he's like, F them picks. I'm moving up. So if he's willing to F them picks for draft players, then maybe that mentality needs to start happening when it comes to trades as well.
Yeah, I'm torn on it because I want to say, yeah, I think so, but the fact that he's so convicted, he has no concerns, he questions everybody that questions him, makes me just think that him and Dan freaking Campbell are just like, they have a board of 20 players and they're going to get those guys and nobody else. And there's the main little thing that I have is, like, at least when we do our drafts, or like I go in with guys I want, I go in with a plan, but if the plan goes out the window, I adapt, I get the next guy down on the list. It always feels to me like this regime is like, if you don't get Isaac Tesla, there's no next receiver. If you don't get Tate Ratledge, there's no other options at guard that are even considerable. That was just who we had to have, and I don't think that's a great approach. I do think that whittling your board down to guys that you've determined fit your culture, our needs, even though you don't want to bring it up, our guys, I'm looking at these ages here, Tyleek and Lovett, the receiver, are 22, but then you got 2 24-year-olds, a couple 23-year-olds in there. And then you got the defensive end at 22 as well. So a little mixture of youth, but also I felt this was very plug and play. It was like, hey, we're missing so-and-so, get this guy. He'll play right away. Hey, we want to solidify this position. We'll get 2-3 guys and they can fight it out and one will start from day one. So it's both that mentality of I gotta have it no matter what. Nobody else fits us. Nobody else is worth the next option down. He even mentioned on the radio he tried to trade like 30 times and then he was only able to get these couple deals done on day 2. I mean, that's both exciting, you got an active GM, but almost concerning because this draft was somewhat ho-hum and was kind of like, who are these guys? You're making 30 phone calls that you got to jump up. So I have questions, as you can tell here on the mic, but I am much more positive, thinking these guys will come in, they'll be productive, they'll be what the Lions want, which will then shut all of us up, and then we'll also see the guys that we wanted that went to other teams maybe not get the opportunities, maybe not do as well as we think, and then we'll all be like, oh, great moves by our regime. That's kind of how I see it shaking out. So very intriguing across the board. I'm sure you got a retort, Chops.
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, so again, going back to the, Isaac, and again, I think you've nailed the last name now. Everybody says Tesla, but it's, I can't even say it. Is it Tesla? How do you say it? But for him to move up like that to get him, you got to think that he, the other third. Let me break this down for you. The other wide receivers that went in the 3rd round after him were Pat Bryant, Noel, Savion Williams, and Tay. Had one of them later on, so Isaac, must have just been that much higher up on his list. So, but giving up 2 third rounders. I mean, yes, I understand you got 6 6th-round kickbacks. You know, I don't know. It's almost like Brad. How do I say this? I like this approach in reality sports online 5-round draft 32-team league. This is how I am. I'm always trying to move up and, you know, willing to give up future assets. But it makes me a little nervous that that's what Brad Obley's Hoping for Business is doing in the actual draft.
The other thing I'll say about Tesla, as well as some of the other guys, is like, well, not the other guys. The other guys I only watched and was intrigued by, but kind of excited about what I saw. But when you turn on Tesla's film, you see like one-handed catches. You see him go up and get the football over people. You see plays, but there wasn't anything that, like, all of a sudden I was like, oh, watch out for this guy as like a dynamic NFL receiver. To me, it's like a couple people said, we'll never know where you could get him. Brad Holmes says there's no way you could have waited. You had to go get him. These teams had needs. They were going to take a receiver. One guy said, you know, he might not be available. So yeah, I don't know. Like, Tesla to me didn't pop off the film. I don't know what they were so enamored by other than his character, his size, and some of the athletic traits, but he pretty much is your 4 or 5, maybe even 6 type receiver having to work himself up the depth chart. I hope I'm wrong, but I would have loved to know, would he just been there in the 5th, 6th, you know, even with your 4th round pick, could you just sat there and took a player like that, or was the league clamoring to get him? We'll never know. We just have to roll with it. So, Chops, I want to keep this moving. We just go back and forth for days. So, out of these guys, who's your favorite pick?
Ooh, that's a great question.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
There are people out there all across the country pushing boundaries to grow the game of golf. Like champion speed golfer Lauren Cupp, who plays faster than anyone else. And Will Lowry, whose work in the golf community inspires more kids to get into the game. As a champion partner of the Masters, Bank of America supports everyone determined to find out what's possible. In golf and in life. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A. member FDIC, copyright 2025, Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Xyzal is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Xyzal keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Xyzal. At night.
Spring is here, and you can now get almost anything you need for your sunny days delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a well-groomed lawn delivered, but you can get a chicken parmesan delivered. A cabana? That's a no. But a banana? That's a yes. A nice tan? Sorry, nope. But a box fan? Happily, yes. A day of sunshine? No. A box of fine wines? Yes. Uber Eats can definitely get you that. Get almost anything delivered with Uber Eats. Order now. Alcohol in select markets. Product availability may vary by region. See app for details.
Man, I know this probably isn't going to be the one that pops out to everybody, but I actually really like this Miles Frazier pick. I had him in a couple of my mocks. I actually did a little bit of work on him. He was always my go-to guard to grab when I didn't hit on Gray Zabel in that first round. So I like this kid coming out of LSU. I'm very high on him. He's got the versatility. I'm wondering if he's a guy that they can eventually kind of start to shift around and even, start grooming into a center, because he has that versatility along the line on the left, right, and potentially guard and tackle. So I really like that pick. It was kind of funny. I think I confused you when I texted you about this is my pick, and then the Lions picked him too, and so we were like, oh, wait, was that yours? Was that the Lions? No, I'm like, that was the choppy pick. So I don't know. I like that pick. I thought it was kind of sneaky good. He didn't move around and go crazy trading up to get him, but I like that Miles Frazier pick.
I'm sure it has nothing to do with you being exactly right at what the Lions did, but over all the years of doing this, I think the only other one that I said take this guy and a minute later they did was J-Mo and Larry Warford. Those are the two that I've nailed, I think, over all my times of doing this. So that was incredible, as well as just a crazy shot in the dark call by you in the fifth there at 171. I'm torn right here because I have an easy answer of my favorite pick now that I've calmed down and looked back, and then I got a couple that are like interesting too. So I'm debating between Hassanin is what I'm going with now until I hear his last name a few times, or Tate Rat. And I feel like Tate Rat has to be the guy right now because he's got the hair, he's got the production, he's an old country boy with a big old belt buckle that seems like he'll fit right in. He's always played right guard. I don't know why he couldn't come in here and just win that spot that the vet had, that exited here and went down to Tennessee. So it's like I feel great about him the more I looked into it. Very solid, very productive, little injury concern with a surgery that he got that's supposed to be good now forever, but you know how that goes. Like, it's still a little bit of questionable. So he's my guy, but I think this defensive end, and then my wild card, I know I don't get 3 picks, but I think Dan Jackson has a possibility of being like that grit, grimy, like pops off the film when he comes and knocks someone's head off in a game that people just love. I mean, I don't think the snaps are going to be there because they got Mabo, Brian Branch, as well as the newly paid Curb, and we got other guys out there, but I could just see him being a guy that Detroit latches on to. So with that being said, how about worst pick that you're still frustrated with, you don't know why, you're still not sure about?
Yeah, that's a good follow-up. It's funny because I don't want to say that I don't want this isn't an indictment on the player, but I would say my quote-unquote least favorite pick is going to be, the wide receiver, Isaac there. Like, to give up, 2 set third rounders for him is a lot. So he's got to produce. Like, if he comes back and he's a bust, which, I mean, again, you never hit 1,000, but if he's a bust, then you go, okay, we gave up a lot to get this guy. So, I mean, do I expect him to be the next Amon Ra or the next Amon Ra? Maybe not. But he's got to be damn productive, and he better be a number 3 for the next 4 years after this year, at least, with Tim Patrick going out. But that's the one that I'm the most like, okay. The other ones, I mean, Dan Jackson, 7th rounder. I mean, any of the 6th and 7th rounders at that point, like, if they produce, great. If they don't, it's like, okay. I think Tyleek has a lot of upside, and so I like that. But yeah, the one that makes me scratch my head the most, I'm going to go with is Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that one because we've already talked about it. I think he's going to win me over with just like, he's not going to come here and be a flop because he's a Lions fan. He grew up here. He's going to be very solid and productive. It's just, what's that upside as well as the trade-off for what you gave away. You heard that I've come around on Tyleek Williams a little bit. My concern there is the sack production as well as the just having 2 or 3 big 320-pound pluses. Like, that's not how I build my guys up front, but what do I know? So as I'm going down this list, like, I don't want to, like, worst or not like anybody, but it's between Lovett, the wide receiver, and as much as I know it was good value and he's a good football player, to me, Miles Frazier was not only a double dip, it was a right guard over top of another right guard. And oh, by the way, Christian Mahogany in college played right guard. So it's a over proliferation of resources, if you ask me. The hope is that they can all be cross-trained, and like you said, one of him or Tate Rat can probably learn some center, and it'd be real nice if we could have my boy Christian Mahogany, your guy Miles Frazier, and Tate Rat as our interior line for years to come. That'd be really fun. So that's the one I'm going to go with. Let me ask you this before we take our commercial break. Like, is Brad Holmes going too far with some of this quote-unquote talking down, let's say, to the fan base? I don't really care that he talks down to the media, because I feel like a lot of them need to be talked down to. You know who I'm talking about, people. But the fact that he's giving these long metaphors and he's spelling it out, like, how many teams are in the NFL? How many defensive ends play on each play? It's like, come on, man. We don't need to go that route, especially for this fan base that's not only very knowledgeable, but yes, we don't do this for a living, but we also don't roll out of bed and have takes with no either work or knowledge of football. So is he going too far and with these issues of being questioned whatsoever about edge? Because I feel like he's a little defensive too about receivers and corners, and then he realized later, damn, we don't have any receivers. I better go get some corners. Hey, I might need some edge help. What do you think?
I don't know. I'll start by saying
Hey, it's Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast. The NBA playoffs are here, and Michelob Ultra is getting you closer to the game than ever with courtside seats and more. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra Superior Access Courtside 2024 to 2025 sweepstakes. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Ends on July 1st, 2025. Multiple entry periods. Visit MichelobUltra.com/superior access/courtside for free entry deadlines and official rules. Message and data rates may apply. Void where prohibited.
You're the perfect blend of elegance and style, and your ride should be no different. The 2024 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid meets all your needs, from business to brunch and everywhere in between. With head-turning details like a sleek front end, plus stylish interior, and an available 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster and seamless tech integration. Okay, Hyundai. Visit HyundaiUSA.com to learn more about the new 2024 Hyundai Sonata Hybrid.
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
This episode is brought to you by Loom by Atlassian. Are you feeling stuck at work? Get your team unstuck with Loom video messaging and move work forward. Use Loom to simultaneously record both your screen and yourself to share a quick update, provide feedback, train a colleague, and everything in between. Plus, add Loom AI to your meetings for instant written notes and recordings. Try Loom today at Loom.com. That's LOOM.com.
There's only 32 of those jobs, and you like what I did there. And it's not an easy job, right? I will tell you that I will take a guy like Brad Holmes over some other stiff that either won't speak to the media or gives you the corporate answer every time. I feel like no matter when, no matter what he's saying, you're getting passion, you're getting excitement, and I kind of like him, being, I don't want to say sarcastic, but almost like you said, like talking down to the media, like, oh, you questioned me. Hey, remember when you said this was bad? Hey, like, I like that. So, I mean, I still think he needs to address the edge position. But I also think that he's probably sick and tired of defending his actions as well, considering that the team has done nothing but win progressively more and more and more as he has been here. So, I mean, look, if they until there's a dip, I don't know how you can question what he's doing, because every year they've won more games. Now, this year you have a dip, you have a first round loss, in the playoffs. I don't see it happening, but if it happens, then maybe you can start to question some of the moves that he makes. But until that happens, I don't know. I'll take the snarky, the sarcasm, the put people in their place GM over the guy who sits up there and basically just talks down to you like he's the smartest man in the room and your opinion doesn't matter. And he's actually more confrontational. I don't find Brad Holmes confrontational. I find other GMs much more smug than him.
I'm very, very shocked on this end that Chops likes snark. He likes, I told you so. He likes, let me tell you when I was right, but maybe forget when you made mistakes, like Broderick Martin and, some of these other trade-ups. So far, Gio Manu. I mean, that's a real shocker.
It's like, duh.
I mean, it actually kind of drives me freaking bonkers, to be honest.
It drives me freaking bonkers.
But I'm on the other side, man. I feel like we've had enough of this, man. It's you need edge help. I don't say you have to get a Hall of Famer. I don't say the guy has to have double-digit sacks. I'm not beating you over the head with every pick needs to be an edge. Yes, I took a couple edges with my Okri picks early, but I wasn't married to it. I took a corner at 28. All we're saying is you need more production from that side, so no one's attacking you. Today he said that we hate Aiden Hutchinson and we can't understand why we don't have two Aiden Hutchinsons. No, we want Aiden Hutchinson and another productive player on the other side, whether that be the guys you've brought in, somebody you haven't brought in, or something else. So I love me some Brad Holmes, but some of this outward talk and going back to book club metaphors and telling the front row why they gotta understand this and how you can't understand that, or are you happy we got an edge, or you're on my what about it. I mean, just go back to the I don't care approach and bring the receipts later, but it's just getting a little bit much for me. So I what I want to have happen is all his stuff work out and he can say I told you so if he wants, or he could just be like, hey, we got great football players, we love these guys, I tried to tell you guys that, and we still got great edge play out of X, Y, and Z. Everybody but Marcus Fattenport is hopefully what happens. So that's where I'm at with it.
I mean, the other thing too is we don't know this, but he may have been very aggressively trying to move up from pick, was it 25 in the second round, and the edges that were there, you got Donovan Ezaraku, you have JT from Ohio State, you had Nick Gordon from Texas A&M. Maybe he really loved one of those guys and was trying to get up there to get him, and they just went before he could. You never know.
I mean, yeah, there's rumors he was trying to trade up and he couldn't get it done, but that's neither here nor there. The problem or the question is, anytime he's questioned, especially about edge, and especially in the last little while, especially since we lost playoff games and NFC championships, maybe temper down the whole calling everybody out or taking us back to preschool football. We're not all in that category just because we say, hey, are you putting an emphasis on this position? It seems like your roster is not as full at these spots. I mean, they can build it however they want, but I don't need to be beaten over the head or acting like we don't know what the heck we're talking about because we just say we perceive edge to be a bit of a weakness. What say you? Nope, not at all. And why do you keep asking me? It just seems crazy, but that's neither here nor there. He's the expert. He's the paid GM, and Chops is that guy too. So it is what it is, and I get some of the confidence, but some of the other stuff's been overboard a little bit for me. But he is still fun to listen to. He's a genuine guy, which I can appreciate. It's hey, what he says he means and what he does he wants, and if it works, we'll all be happy. So let's get our sponsors in, take a very quick break because we went 25 plus. But as you guys know, the millions and millions, I mean, you guys have been eating up our draft content. We didn't even put out like the 8-10 hours worth of full episodes. I don't know if we'll do that. I've actually been working on some other little possible ideas or things that I may try to get out, but there's not enough time in the day. So lots of draft content. You guys have been eating it up. We love talking about it. Let's take a quick pause. I got more questions, more takes, more opinions, more draft talk right after the break. Everybody, we'll be right back.
Detroit Koolaid listeners, hey, it's your boy at Chops in the D, and I got a question for you. Do you want to make your own podcast? If you do, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easy, and then you can distribute it anywhere, anytime, and even make some money on it. All one place, and guess what? It's free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else that podcasts are heard. There's video options for podcasts as well available on Spotify. And listen, if you want to take your podcast to the next level beyond that, you can start a conversation with your fans with a Q&A poll that's available as well. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it is totally free. No catches, no gimmicks, free. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Woo! Way!
In 3, 2, 1. Kool-Aid drinkers, we're back. Thank you so much for listening to the show, checking out the show, sharing the show, repping the show. You know what it is. Drinking that Detroit Kool-Aid. We're here talking the NFL draft. Me, Chop, at Chops in the D on the Twitter X machine. You can find him. You can find me at Derek Okrie. It's spelled the only way you can spell it. DEREKOKRIE. Talking ball. If there's any crazy fantasy football fans out here, I mean, Chops is in like all my leagues, but he's like most of our members, where he just sits back with his feet up and tells the commish to find every person. So I've been trying to hunt down great GMs. I'm finding people day by day, yet we still got a couple open spots. So hit me up on Twitter machine with the DM or something if you want to jump in one of our 32 team reality sports online. I got sleeper leagues. I've got ESPNs. I mean, I'm doing all I can to fill these up so that I can do what we're talking about today, which is draft rookies and do drafts, which is the funnest thing ever. So Choppy Chop, we left on Brad Holmes. I have here, I was going to ask about undrafted free agents, but nobody jumped out, and I haven't had time to go back into who even they picked up and what might be, but they did pick up Zadarius Smithy's like cousin, nephew, something or other. Like, where you at with Z Smith with that ends with F? Like, is this guy coming back? Is Cash Doll getting him back? Are we going to lose him to some bumsky team? Can we do better than Z Smith? I mean, everybody's acting like he's definitely back. He's already penciled in. Brad Holmes, no, that's why he did X, Y, and Z. Like, I really don't see it that way, but what about you?
I mean, you don't want.
This episode is brought to you by Chevrolet. When you have 4 new tires, every drive feels fresh. Right now, buy 3 select tires and get 1 for just $1 during the Chevrolet Certified Service Fresh Start Tire event. Visit Chevrolet.com/service offers or see dealer for full details. At participating U.S. GM dealers only, highest or equal value tire will be $1. Offer ends 5/31/2025. Not available with other offers.
And now, 2 pigeons bemoaning the fact you can choose the TV you want with DirecTV.
So now they can pick out their favorite entertainment when they sign up and save money?
You mean if you like sports?
You can get a sports pack.
What about entertainment?
Entertainment pack.
It's like finding an old pizza with your favorite toppings, which for me would be pineapple and toenails.
Pineapple?
Pay for the TV you want, not the TV you don't. Genre pack starting at $34.99 a month. Visit DirecTV.com for more information. New residential customers only. Local channels vary by market. Services renew monthly unless you cancel online. Credit card required. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
Your snacking routine can get a little dull. Time for a light and fit remix. Like a crunchy storm of graham cookies, caramel pearls, and dark chocolate, showering down into a smooth, creamy yogurt. Enjoy 3 light and fit remix varieties with craveable flavors and up to 120 calories and 10 grams of protein per 4.5-ounce serving. See remixyogurt.com.
So good, so good, so good. Great gifts for mom? We've got them. And they're up to 60% off at Nordstrom Rack stores now.
You know they have Marc Jacobs? Gotta show mom some love.
That is so good. Snag amazing deals on Mother's Day gifts from Barefoot Dreams, Kate Spade New York, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
I want to go into a deep dive of Zach Horton and Caden Presscorn, our UDFA tight ends that we picked up here to be our, in the 5 and 6 spot. You don't want to get into those?
I mean, go for it if you want, but for me, they're TBD. If you ask me, we'll see. I hope they play well. If not, they'll be at the bowling alley.
I mean, the thing is, the word on the street is that Brad Holmes loves Jackson Meeks at wide receiver position so much so that he was willing to waive Antoine Green, which happened today. So. Listen,
Antoine Green had like a career-ending injury, in year 2, and we never got anything out of the guy. And he's gonna get like a NFL check the rest of his life. But unfortunate for him, he got an injury, and that's another wasted pick, unfortunately.
7th rounder. It's okay. It's okay.
They're all important, but
they are all important. That's right. Well, Brad Holmes trades them like candy, so hey,
that's true.
Can I get a Mars bar if I get you 2 Snickers?
What about Z Smith?
Back to Z Smith. Back on topic. You got to keep me. My squirrel brain here just pops all around. So Z Smith, listen, I would absolutely be on board with him coming back on a prove it deal, right? Like no one was quick to snag him up. I think the desire from probably both sides to come back is there. I'm kind of surprised he's still lingering around out there. Nobody has, made an offer or he hasn't accepted an offer. So maybe Brad Holmes knows something that we don't, that all along the plan was to re-sign him after the draft and get him on the other side. So I'm all on board for him coming back. You traded for him. Now let's, lock him back in and get him on for a 1 or a 2 year prove it deal.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, here's a problem that Detroit fans have, and I've been guilty of it, but we kind of just fall in love, or we get set on certain players, and one thing that Brad Holmes always talks about and we talk about, it's need to get better at certain spots. So you can say everything that Za'Darius did last year, and there's a good amount he didn't do, but he wasn't with Hutchinson, but this, but that. It's I feel like they let all the top-end free agents go. You're sitting there with him and a few other guys out and about. You didn't really address it in the draft, so he may be your best option, but this dude's in his mid to early 30s. He's formerly a productive player, has some great things when it comes to grit, mentality, able to get after the quarterback a bit, but I don't know that we can do better at this point, but I don't know that I don't feel that there's a set, definitely coming back. We got the price. We got a roster spot for him. I feel like it's much more up in the air, whereas fans are just oh, I see why you disregarded that spot. You got him, and then we got Hutch, going to be perfectly healthy, and, Fattenport's going to just go incredible and turn the clock back 5 years and not miss any football games. And it seems a lot of what ifs and buts when it comes to that spot and the future, but you have to be able to rush. Hopefully the guys on the inside will help out whoever's out there, but I don't think it's a set in stone. At this point, because I don't think there's many better options, I would definitely like him back. I think the guy deserves like a decent deal, but we cut him to save 10. He probably wants at least 7 or 8, and Brad Holmes is probably more in the 4 or 5 bargain bin type price range. So I don't know how they're going to bridge that gap, but I think he is needed back by this football team, that's for sure. So we will see if Zadarius Smithy and Cash Doll are back at Lions games comes Sundays in the fall. I'll say that.
I mean, to your exact point where you need to be better, like you need to get better, right? So this is the list of our edges right now. You got Aiden Hutchinson, Marcus Davenport, Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Pascal, Muhammad, the rookie that we just drafted, Nate Lynn, Mitchell, Agood, again, I can never say these names, and then Isaac Kua. Are you telling me that Zadarius Smith isn't the second best name on the list behind Hutch?
The point is he's the second best on the list, and I don't love that as the second name. The other 2 guys you named after that are more defensive tackles to me. So I only heard Muhammad as your second guy that actually has youth upside and juice, and Zadarius being there's no other free agents that are better, and we like him in our culture, so I guess we'll try to bring him back. That's sort of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking here. You got Matt Judon still out there, again, 32 years old.
I think I'd rather have Matt Judon than Zadarius. Zadarius is a tougher, grittier, nastier player, but Judon has better bend and just in his heyday, only 2 to 3 years ago, was getting 10+ sacks.
Yeah,
with the Patriots, with his red sleeves on.
Names I'm looking down, I agree. I'm not seeing anybody. I'm looking at the bargain bin right now, and I'm not seeing anybody that really jumps out to say, yeah, go get this guy.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Let's keep it moving. I want to know from you, what do you think about these rookies and their impact for 2025? Let's start there. We already kind of talked about them. I mean, do you have ultra high hopes for this class? Do you think we've got certain starters? Do you see guys as backups? Do you see people as, wow, look at the ceiling? Or, hey, this guy is capped out, but man, he's very safe and is going to be a pro for a long time here in Detroit. Where are you at with this class, or some of the names? Is how they going to fit in this year where we're trying to win a Super Bowl? We got a damn good football team, and we need rookies to come together because we're paying everybody right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, Tyleik Williams with the Aleem McNeil injury is an immediate must start next to DJ Reed. So I know you got like we've talked about before, you got Levi, you got Roy Lopez, you got Broderick Martin, you got names there, but you used a 1st-round pick on this guy, he better be slotted in right next to DJ Reader until Aleem McNeil comes back. And then when Aleem comes back, DJ Reader gets kicked to the curb, I guess. So I think he needs to make an immediate impact. The other one that I'm looking at to make an immediate impact, it has to be one of these offensive guards. So you've got Mahogany, Glasgow, Tate Rat, and Miles Frazier. And you need 2 of those 4 to start. So we'll probably have a bit of a rotation there, but I'm expecting Tate Rat to come right in and grab that right guard spot. And I damn well expect Miles Frazier to be chomping at the bit to get some reps in there too, whether it's when, somebody gets hurt or to even beat out Tate Rat. So, and again, I think you like to point out too that Christian Mahogany hasn't exactly proven it, so there's going to be some opportunity there for that guard position for one of those guys to really step up. And I think they've got some potential because they had production in college.
Are you regretting your love for Graham Glasgow yet? Because I know that was definite argument between me and you where you were just pay him, 10 million plus is a good deal. And I'm just I don't know, man. He's a little hit or miss. And then he comes in and we love his flex, but I feel he was good for a while, and then when we needed him most, he was really not good. And they love him in that O-line room, but I feel it might be time to hopefully have a young cat take the spot and have Glasgow be that backup swing interior and center, and we'll call you if we need you.
Yeah, I like having a guy like him because again, he can cover you when Rag Nasty's hurt at that center spot. So I'm not regretting it. I mean, look, it's not like we're breaking the bank on him. I think he's making like $7 million a year. So do I love that we brought in some rookies that can start to push him a bit and maybe even push him to the side or as the backup center? Yeah, I really do. But I don't regret having a veteran guy like that who's a culture fit, a leader. He's got the ability to flex across all three positions in the interior. So I don't regret that at all.
And people, you want to know why, again, that we love draft picks so much? Because Chops is like, oh, Graham Glasgow is making like 6, 7, 8, 10 million. No big deal. Love to have him. He's got a little bit of swing. Tate Rat for 4 years makes an average of about 1.9 at his max. Miles Frazier for 4 years, barely over $1 million buckos. That's it. That's why you don't just give away these draft picks like they're candy. That's first and foremost. If I had to look at who's going to make these impacts in 2025, I mean, you hit it with Ty Leak. You're going to need him. Hopefully he does find a nice role. I mean, we're not putting him in the Hall of Fame or acting like he's just gifted a spot, but you would think he'd hopefully be somewhat plug and play. I'd like to see Ratledge win that right guard based on what I've seen so far. Maybe Mahogany on the left would be my ideal situation. Tesla, to me, is, I'm going to love seeing him in preseason. There's going to be a lot of hype. A lot of people, I think, will be disappointed. I think I heard somebody throw on the radio, oh, he's going to catch like 60-some passes. I'm like, 60-some passes? Put him in the Pro Bowl. Like, what are you talking about? Like, a lot of these guys that are like him and come in the league maybe get 20 to 30 if they're lucky. That's a good year for a first-year guy with not many opportunities. I mean, that feels like, but maybe he'll be like a chain mover, a red zone guy. Maybe he's the beneficiary of a couple big trick plays or something and ends up putting up some nice numbers. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for him.
I got to cut you off real quick. Do people realize that Tim Patrick had 33 receptions last year and you're giving Tesla 60?
I saw somebody say Tim Patrick's the greatest WR3 in all of football, and I was like, we like Tim Patrick here in Detroit. He carved out a niche role, but I'm pretty sure I could name about 15, 20 plus WR3s, if not more, that are probably better than him. But yeah.
People get enamored, man. I mean, I like the enthusiasm. We love to serve the Kool-Aid, but I'll tell you what, I'm willing to put up some big buco bet money here if Tesla has 60 receptions this year.
People that are talking about Patrick as the best WR3 thinks that Detroit Kool-Aid is delicious. They love the Honolulu blue flavored drink for sure. So I don't know. I'm just going down the list here. I mean, even Hassanen, the defensive end, to me is hey man, if he can be a rusher on third down, if he can get a handful of sacks, if he can get a lot of pressures when he's out there, I mean, that would be a good year, I think, for him based on where he was drafted. Frazier, like you said, be in the mix to either be in there, be a rotational player, or grow into a starter role. Dan Jackson, to me, is going to always be on your active just because he's going to run down on all special teams. He's going to be better than we have backup safety, because you've heard my pet peeve where people think we're just good for the next 5 years because we got BB and Kerbo, and it's like you kind of need to have people behind them, and you need to have guys that do other things. So he's a tough, gritty player that can be like your safety 4 and see what you have, because there's really not anybody else there. And to me, Lovett, the receiver, is a guy that, he might show out in preseason and people get all excited, but he's much more of a, okay, let's grow you into a role. Let's see if you can be active on game days. If not, be a practice squad or be a lower tier guy. And then we can actually, like, if you show enough juice and you show enough things, maybe you grow into like a WR 4-5, and help our football team. Like, that's probably the kind of like scenario or situation I see him doing, and if any of these guys outperform that, that's just gravy. But I'm kind of taking that low and slow approach of saying, like, give them realistic things, see what they do, and then if they pop, give them bigger roles from there.
It's time to rewrite the vacation rules. With Royal Caribbean, your family can look forward to just about anything. Break the thrill barrier, roaring down the tallest water slide in North America. Jump into breathtaking jungles and jaw-dropping coves. Vibe off the charts on our private island Perfect Day at Coco Cay. And end the day knowing things are just getting started. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Click fast and save big. Shop Blinds.com's Spring Cyber Monday sale and elevate your space with new custom window treatments today. DIY or let our pros handle everything from measure to install. Blinds.com makes upgrading your home easy with free virtual consultations, honest pricing, and free samples delivered to your door. Shop confidently with our 100% satisfaction guarantee. Hurry to Blinds.com's Spring Cyber Monday sale now. Save up to 45% with minimum purchase plus a free measure. Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
We're shipping Mother's Day gifts with a rapid-fire round of questions. Ready?
Yes, my gift. Can you pack it?
Yep.
Ship it?
Yes.
Guarantee it?
Of course.
Oh, send gift baskets?
For sure.
Protect electronics? Dog-proof it? Return it if they hate it?
Yes, no, and yeah.
Are you the UPS store?
Hey, we have a winner!
Visit theupsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product, services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Visit a store today.
Yeah, I like it. And I think, addressing the safety position was something that we always kind of talked about in the draft. That's, I think, part of the reason why we were so high on Malachi Starks. Because you're right. I mean, look, this no knock on Brian Branch and Kerbo, but they're two guys. So if somebody goes down, who's our next safety up? I mean,
I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, I don't even know. They've had the guys like
Norris, like
Morris. Is it Morris Norris or Norris Morris? I know. I don't even know.
It's Norris Morris Norris. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, and now it's Dan freaking Jackson is who it is. Dan freaking Jackson is.
Yeah, it is for sure. Well, we can't. We've already used up that gimmick, but I know what you're saying. I think he's going to be a fun one to watch. Let me ask you this: ceiling and floor. We've kind of talked about it. Like, what's like? Who's your guy that has like the most exciting ceiling that you see here of like, ooh, that guy could really be something regardless of where he was taken, both not this moment but maybe in the next year or two?
Yeah, I think as much as I wasn't excited about this pick when it happened, it's got to be Tate Rat. I mean, he has the potential, being taken in the second round to be our starting left or right guard for, his whole career. I mean, he produced at a very high rate at Georgia, and he's got the build, he's got the stats, he's got the potential. I think he could be a guy that he's a name that you're like, yep, we're locking him in, and we're just going to keep running it back with Christian Mahogany, Penei Sewell, and Tate Rat in the future.
And Gio Manu, don't forget about him. That's our. Could you just the mass and the nastiness though? If it was like Penei on the left, Mahogany next to him, let's say Tate Rat learns how to play center, Frazier at right guard, and big nasty Gio Manu grows into a man-child at right tackle. That'd kind of be a dream scenario.
Yeah, if that was our starting five in 2026, 27, and they were productive, they'd be sick.
Yeah.
Because it would just be straight up Brad Holmes drafting, building through the trenches, just keeping that O-line, keeping my boy Jared Goff crispy clean. It'd be amazing.
And that's what it feels like this draft was. It was sort of like, yes, we're good and we need to plug a few holes, but this was a replenish the cupboards, get a few guys in that can have a year or so of seasoning, out with the old, in with the new type of guys up front, whether it be offensive and defensive line type of thing. So when I think about ceilings, let me ask you this, Chops, before I do my take. Was it just me, or were you blown away by that tweet that somebody put out? I'd give him credit if I could remember, about Tyleik Williams. He put Tyleik Williams' stats next to your boy Mason Graham and what was it, Kenneth Grant or another nasty GT, and Tyreek had more tackles, more pressures, more sacks, more like it was nuts seeing that across the board. I don't know, maybe he had a whole extra year and that's why they were so skewed, but it was pretty eye popping. So, I mean, that's good for him on a stats point of view.
Yeah, so I think I know the tweet you're talking about. It was a little bit deceiving because I believe that Tyreek had an extra year of starting there. But yeah, he basically lined up with Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant, Walter Nolan, and Derek Harmon. And I mean, Tyreek beat all of them in every stat: tackles, tackle for loss, sacks, pass defenses. I mean, I think he even had a scoop and score. So, you know, while it was a bit skewing because I think he was a 4-year starter at Georgia there, it was still nice to see that, and a bit eye-opening too, to see that he was comparable with those top guys that all were drafted ahead of him.
I know you just had a little Freudian slip, but this Tyreek Williams that we're talking about was one of the few non-Georgia players. He went to that other school that we shot in that video.
Hey, listen, Ohio State sucks.
You know how I feel about that.
Ohio State is vanquished.
I do it.
The only thing I'd challenge you on is I'm looking at his age again, 22. I mean, Mason Graham can't be much younger than that. So he either started before Mason Graham did as far as just playing ball, but you can't have had a whole extra year and still be 22 in my opinion. But anyway, back to my ceiling point. So when I think about ceiling, I think about, man, what's one of these players that could just outperform his draft position, like be fun to watch, like put up some numbers that would be productive. And there's just one name. Well, I'm hoping for all these guys they do that, but to me, there's 2 names I'll throw out. The first one that jumps to mind is Ahmed Hassanin, defensive end, Boise State. I mean, this guy was carrying the sledgehammer. He was the guy in the middle of the rally before the games. He was just nonstop motor. I've already seen some workout videos from this guy where he's just getting at it. He says he can't wait to be in Detroit. So I could see him definitely outperforming that pick 196 round 6 value, as well as if everyone's going to be harping on edge and this guy shows anything or just nonstop motor, puts up a few numbers, gets everybody excited. Like, again, Detroit will just fall in love with him from a mentality standpoint. And the other name I'll just throw out is, we've knocked him a little bit on this show, but they believe in him so much. He plays a nice position of wide receiver. Like Isaac Tesla could come out and start making plays, and he's got the hair and he's got the build, and he's that wide receiver, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like he could be a fan favorite, as well as like, wow, look at what this guy's doing, or look at the plays he's making, or maybe finds the end zone a little bit more than we expect. So those would be the 2 I'd say that maybe either have the ceiling or could just really like do some things that would either be eye-popping or like, wow, they're outperforming what we hoped for. Those 2 guys, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think somebody tweeted out there his player comp is Cooper Kupp. And I was like, okay, let's tap the brakes just a bit here, But also, funny, during the draft, I feel like they put up highlights of the wrong wide receiver because they were so shocked that he was taken where he was taken. Because I'm like, the dude that just was out there catching those passes was not 6'4".
See, I think we're wrong on that. Like, I went back and I watched some of his stuff, and I think those were the things. They just look weird. He does not look that big on film, but when you watch him, like I watch his Hillsdale stuff, and man, he's got a lot of highlight plays. He's real excitable on the field. There's things to really like, but there was no, like, he doesn't pop off the line of scrimmage. He doesn't shake people. He kind of just runs the routes he's supposed to run, and if you give him a chance for the football, he goes up and gets it. So we'll see what he does. When I talk about ceiling and floor, I feel like Tyreek, Tate Rat, Miles Frazier, Dan Jackson, and maybe even Lovett, those are like nice floor players. Like, I don't see any of those guys either being in the police blotter or not knowing how to play football or not working hard. They're all very safe from a mentality standpoint, as well as, hey, they could either have a chance to make this roster or are going to at least get opportunities. So that's a good thing too. If you can take a bunch of floor players and then take a swing and hope for ceiling with Tesla and Hassanen, I'm with that from a proportion standpoint. Like, go safer, but if you want to take a couple and maybe they'll work, that'd be good.
Yeah, Hassanen is my kind of dark horse right there because you just don't know. He's a much like Gio Manu, where you just don't know what you have, right? Like, the guy didn't start playing football, I think, until like American football until he was 19 or something. Like, so he's just even new to this sport.
But my counter is, it's different totally, because isn't he like just a monster at Boise State? Didn't he like lead that whole conference in sacks, and he had all these numbers? So this is not a big projection when it comes to, hey, this guy like never played football, but he's big and physical and works hard, but he had like 2 sacks his whole career. The last 2 years, he's been like one of the most productive defensive ends in all of college football, is what I believe I saw. And
yeah,
so,
he's got a lot of stats for sure. He's been productive. I was just comparing him that like he was new to the sport. He wasn't like he's a 0-star recruit coming to high school, because I don't think he played football in high school.
Right.
So,
but I'm fine with that. That's Ziggy Ansah to me, where he had all the build and the projection, but he had some numbers at BYU, but he just had everything else and was able to put together a couple nice years there. Not the greatest career by any means, but the Gio thing to me is much more of a size only, and we think he can turn into X, but there was no like, hey, he was this productive and no sacks and, just all these things that pointed towards it. Was just size and physicality and mentality. This guy's built right physically and mentally, just wait. And Hassanen to me is much more like physically built, mental's right, and oh, by the way, produced. And it's almost a good thing that he's just barely getting into football, I think, because that's where I get the ceiling comparison as well. So, Choppy Chop, we went like long like we knew we would. We're getting towards that hour point. So, do you want to give this a grade? Do you want to just stick with we're more optimistic than we were maybe live on the microphones? Do you want to poo-poo anything, as you would say? Do you want to give any kudos? What do you want to do here to end the show?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not real big on giving. Well, he got a C- overall for the look, if someone's gonna say, hey, grade this out, I would say this is a solid B draft. I mean, I see a lot of people touting this as the best draft class, rankings wise across the 32 teams, Lions in the top 3 on all these lists. That's great. I mean, again, if every player hits, or let's just say 3 out of his 7 players really hit and have good NFL careers, the question comes back to, what did you give up? What future assets did you give up to get those players? I like this class as a collective group of guys. I mean, again, addressing the trenches, getting in that wide receiver 3 position you needed. Again, I think taking Tyleik Williams as high as he did tells me that Lee McNeil's hurt a little bit more than we all think. But yeah, I mean, this is a solid B+ to me.
Yeah, I think the grades are tough as well. I think that what this came down to for me when I looked at it after the fact was it comes back to the things that we don't know. The medical questions we didn't have answers to, that we didn't meet with these guys. I feel like all these guys that we've talked about were guys that wowed them throughout the process, during the interviews. Guys like Tyleik Williams, they just talk about, and you can see it when you watch later. He plays the way they want him to play. He's physical. He's tough against the run. He's balanced. He can move. He's got good feet. All the things that you hear about, are just kind of football things more so than production, rankings, stats, things like that. The other guys are just, nonsense, no nonsense football players, going to fit great in the locker room. Those are the things that this regime cares about more than anything else. And they know they can coach them up, get them better, as well as, they're sort of taking spots that these guys have opportunities to come in and play right away, while also, stocking the shelves for the future. It has a lot of good things going for it. The question is, I could see us too in 2 years looking back and being like, we tried to say Tesla was a reach, and he not doing a ton and he's hurt or whatever. And, you know, Tyreek Williams, we didn't like it. Then we grew into loving him, and then he didn't do so much. And he's from Ohio State. We don't like I could see some backside to this as well, that it doesn't work. Same with like the Hassenen. We're pumping him up. We love the ceiling. We love this. Could be a once we like see him in the NFL level. I mean, I think it's just gonna come down though. These guys have too much heart, too much character to just wash out. And then I have enough confidence and optimism in Detroit Koolaid with Cornbread that Brad Always for Business Homes, Dan Freaky Campbell, these coaches are gonna get the absolute best, not only out of these guys, but these guys are going to fit in awesome with the guys we already have, who we know are the core of our football team, the core of a Super Bowl future winning team. Choppy, what do you got? I'm sure you got something goofy or some take to get us up out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll finish up and wrap up the show. A great draft recap show here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast after a long 2 days of recording. But like we've talked about for many, many years, what team you get drafted to has a huge impact on your NFL road and how high of a ceiling that you have. And these guys are going to one of the best coach teams in the NFL, to a team that has the best owner, one of the best GMs, and they're gonna do everything in their power to get these guys the most out of these guys. Highly motivated, again, character guys. They are always looking to take team captains and players that are doing all the extra work, who have grit. So it's so happy to be sitting here going, man, these are some maybes, but no one is going to give them a better chance to succeed in the NFL than the Detroit Lions. Because so many years we would draft these guys that were so highly skilled or so highly this, and then they came here and they petered out and did nothing. So I'm happy with the draft class. I'm happy with the culture. I'm happy with everything we got going on here in the D, and I cannot wait to be playing actual real football in 2025.
Everybody, that's what we got. Quick promo. We're not going to make a bunch of promises, but we do believe we have Logan Lamrandier from Sports Illustrated. What are they calling themselves now? Like All Lions or some, I think they got a new name, but you know Logan. He used to come on the show. He's busy with life, twins, whatever he's got going on. We reached out. Choppy Chop wants to have him on so he can agree with him and tell him how smart he is. And I'll probably ask him why he hates DeAndre Swift and a few other things that we'll go back to like we used to talk about. But that's hopeful and somewhat on the books for next week. Keep your eyes on the pod feed. You never know what might pop up, might not. Like Chop said, we've been doing a lot of recording, so I keep asking Chops to get me a week off so I can actually go decompress, but he just keeps making me do solo shows, keeps making me do double dips and long recordings, and Oakley, can you edit this for me? I mean, I'm running out of steam over here, but we're pumping out 3 shows a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Logan will be a great guest. We've talked about the draft before, during, and after. Everybody, that's what we got. And we'll catch you next time right here on the Detroit Koolaid Cast. Take care, everybody. We're out.
Time to win the Super Bowl.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions. Drink it in, man.